The New Year period is always a good time to take a step back to reflect on the year that was, while also looking ahead to the future. Last week I counted down what I believe to be the 10 best games of 2016, which you should totally watch by clicking the annotation. Now, it's time to look forward to the games on the horizon. I'm Josh the Top Hat Gamer, and these are my top 10 most anticipated games of 2017. Before we begin, this list is currently comprised of games that have been quote-unquote confirmed for a 2017 release date. As we all know, things get delayed, and some games don't get release dates until the year of their release, so obviously I can only talk about the games we know about so far. With that out of the way, let's begin the countdown. Number 10. Detroit: Become Human. The first entry on this list comes with a massive disclaimer. I don't like Quantic Dream games. Heavy Rain is as close to a good game as David Cage has ever made, and that has some absolutely glaring flaws to say the least. But despite my less than favourable experiences with the works of Mr. Cage, I can't help but look forward to one of his games coming out. Maybe it's because I enjoy a good train wreck, or maybe it's because the next one might be the one that finally gets it. Either way, I'm looking forward to Detroit: Become Human. I hope, against all hope, that it uses its Blade Runner-esque themes to make a narrative worth experiencing, and maybe this game will be the first in Quantic Dream's library that can actually make it feel like your choices matter. No matter what, I can't deny that I'm excited to see how this one plays out. Number 9. For Honor. I've always had a soft spot for medieval-style melee combat, and For Honor has that in spades. When I got to go hands-on with For Honor last October, I was blown away by just how simple yet satisfying the multiplayer could be, with intuitive controls that made battling opponents tense but never overwhelming. I also found it cool that even games that only had 8 players in total felt like massive skirmishes, thanks to the inclusion of numerous weaker opponents to slay in your downtime. Since then, we've seen some single-player campaign footage, and though it seems a little stilted, I'm still pretty excited for it. Luckily, we won't have to wait long to find out how For Honor holds up, with its release slated for next month. Number 8. Scalebound. If you've been watching my stuff for a while, you know I love me some Platinum. Sure, they dropped the ball a bit with TMNT Mutants in Manhattan, and a lot of people didn't like the Legend of Korra game, but for the most part, they're a solid developer with some 10 on 10 games to their name. So while we haven't seen much of Scalebound, I'm still keen to see more and can't wait to get my hands on it. I mean, from what we have seen, it's got the massive scale and fun soundtrack found in plenty of Platinum's previous titles, and the gameplay has places it can go, though we haven't seen a whole lot of it just yet. I'm of two minds about this one, but it could go either way. I'd like to think that Platinum can still deliver when they've got some freedom and a budget behind them, and Scalebound looks like it might have both, so fingers crossed, I guess. Number 7. Injustice 2. Injustice was awesome. It looked great, was fun to play, and much like its cousins Mortal Kombat 9 and X, it had a really entertaining story. So what should we expect from the sequel? Hopefully, more of the same. We know it looks leaps and bounds better than the original, and the roster is shaping up nicely with some fairly interesting choices making the cut, alongside obvious inclusions like Batman and Wonder Woman. So at the very least, there should be a few more new additions to keep fans guessing. More than anything, I can't wait to see where the story goes from the original, and the new focus on highly customizable cosmetic items is really enticing as well. Here's hoping that Injustice 2 is the super sequel we need. Number 6. NieR Automata. You know how I said I was of two minds about Scalebound after Platinum's most recent games? NieR Automata is shutting down any fears I might have about the developer, mostly thanks to the rad demo that's currently available to download. It's some of the smoothest Platinum combat you'll find in any game, mixed with bullet hell style mechanics similar to that of the first NieR game. Now, I haven't played NieR, but I know the general gist of it, and having that level of emotional story tied to a Platinum developed action game makes my mouth water, or whatever the video game equivalent of that is. Twitchy thumbs or something? I don't know. Either way, this game looks rad as hell, and if you have the chance, you should download the demo immediately. Number 5. Yooka-Laylee. I've said it once, and I'll say it again. Mascot platformers are one of my favorite video game genres of all time. Banjo-Kazooie was one such platformer that I never really got into as a kid, but grew to appreciate later on, as it's probably the best collectathon style platformer there is. So then Yooka-Laylee, a spiritual successor to the king of collectathons, hit Kickstarter, and it wasn't long before the project was fully funded. Everything I've seen about this game, from its gameplay to its googly-eyed character designs to its colourful and fun-looking levels, has got me hooked. I mean, there's a literal trouser snake in the game. Plus guest characters including one of my favourite character designs in recent memory, Shovel Knight. All in all, I think Yooka-Laylee is coming along nicely and hopefully hits the same sweet spot that Banjo-Kazooie did all those years ago. Number 4. Prey. I'm just going to come out and say it, Prey looks weird. I don't know how much it has in common with the original, if any. It has even less in common with the super cool space bounty hunter game that Prey 2 was going to be. Incidentally, if someone wants to take that idea and run with it under a different name, I'm all for that. No, Prey 2017 looks like its own entity and seems to borrow gameplay from the likes of the Dishonored series, providing you with plenty of tools and abilities to solve every situation, while keeping you constantly on edge with a sci-fi horror style where hostile aliens stalk you while disguised as everyday objects. Early trailers seem to imply a fair bit of distortion with regards to our characters' perception of the world or their sanity itself, and that always makes for an interesting time. Also, Mick Gordon is apparently composing the soundtrack, and if you've heard Wolfenstein The New Order, Doom 2016, or Killer Instinct for the Xbox One, you know the quality you can expect from the man's work. Number 3. Horizon Zero Dawn. Like For Honor, I got to go hands-on with Horizon Zero Dawn back in October, and the game is really cool. It's really fun to play, and unlike most games that feature hunting as a core mechanic, I can see myself really getting into this one. Aside from that, the moment-to-moment combat is smooth and fun, and the world of Horizon Zero Dawn simply looks fantastic. Not only that, but the potential lore of the world is so intriguing. How did it end up in this post-apocalypse where mechanical beasts seem to replace 90% of the world's creatures? What makes the game's hero so special? And holy crap, is that a robot crocodile? All I know is I can't wait to find out when the game finally launches. Number 2. Crash Bandicoot The Insane Trilogy. Surprise, surprise, Josh is excited for the Crash Bandicoot remaster. Like I said, mascot platformers are my jam, and while some people have their Marios and Sonics, Crash was always my favourite. And as much as I enjoy going back and playing those classic PlayStation games, they certainly show their age. They control fine, but they aren't quite as responsive as you remember, and there are a number of outdated gameplay conventions that could use some modernizing, like the first game's approach to saving the game. And yeah, a crisp HD makeover wouldn't go amiss either. From the brief glimpse we've had of the first third of the trilogy, all appears well. Sound effects are near perfect, the game looks astounding, and the whole thing just feels right, you know? I've been waiting for this for years, and the fact that it's so close is almost unbelievable. Number 1. Red Dead Redemption 2. I haven't met many people who played Red Dead Redemption and didn't love it. Few games can be called the definitive version of what they're trying to achieve, but Red Dead is without a doubt the definitive Western game. And now there's a sequel in development. We've seen practically nothing of this game, but the possibilities are nearly endless. Will it be a direct sequel to Redemption? Will it touch on Red Dead Revolver at all? Is there going to be multiple playable characters like GTA 5? Is the cast of characters going to be as diverse and memorable as the motley crew that joined us in the last game? If Red Dead Redemption 2 releases and is merely just as good as the previous entry in the Red Dead series, we have a Game of the Year contender. It is as simple as that. So those are the games I'm most looking forward to in 2017. What games are you looking forward to? And do you disagree with the ones I listed? Let me know down in the comments and game on.